Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Three in the Box podcast, powered by Power Soccer Shop. You're listening to the musical stylings of the greatest band in the world, Carly Cosgrove. I'm Bill, he's Josh, he's Alex, and this is Three in the Box. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Three in the Box podcast, powered by Power Soccer Shop. I am Bill Schultz, here as always with my very good buddies, Josh Berger and Alex Johnson. How are we doing tonight, guys?
Hey. Episode 5.
Episode
How about that, huh?
5.
Wow.
Already.
So great. Amazing. Time has flown by.
Thanks to everyone for keeping us alive for five episodes now.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you guys.
Yeah, I went to a tournament this past weekend hosted by San Jose the San Jose organization, and a lot of people came up to me like, "We love the podcast. Keep it going. We love the spotlight. We love everything about it." So thank you guys for letting us know how much you appreciate it.
Yeah.
Did they call you Hollywood?
Yes, only because you guys.
Is it catching on, or
only because
we gotta?
the
aliens are out.
You know what? I'm gonna lean. I'm gonna lean into it. I'm gonna lean into it in this episode. So I'm gonna lean into it. There you go. There I am.
There he is.
There I am. Yeah. What do you guys think? Should I keep this on? Should I not keep it on?
I want to know who's at the controls right now, because somebody.
Because I'm not controlling it right now.
Somebody's touching buttons in this studio. I don't know what's going on there. Just kidding. We should maybe just mention if Nikki wants to pop on screen for a second.
Hello.
A lot of you guys, I'm sure, know Nikki from her team, the Tidewater Piranhas. Nikki she's already been helping us behind the scenes a lot with the podcast, but she's going to be on some of the live shoots now for us, helping us out as kind of our on-air producer. So sometimes she'll pop in, sometimes she'll pop out, but she'll hopefully keep us in line.
Yeah, she's gonna whip us into shape.
You two can match with your glasses.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's true. Let me just put this back on here.
It was
there you go.
Yes, right. Very
perfect.
We all just look like quite the crack squad here. Just total professionals at Three in the Box.
The A-team.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Nikki. Thank you for helping keep the three of us, under control. We get a little wily out here. But anyways,
yes, we do.
Lots and lots of Power Soccer action has happened since the last episode, Josh and Alex,
which is awesome.
Super, super awesome. We're going to talk about not one but 2 competitions that happened in San Jose since our last episode, which Josh was just there this past weekend. And we're also going to talk about a pretty large tournament that happened in Fort Wayne just a couple weekends ago.
And before we jump into it, just for everybody to know, as a disclaimer, all these scores that we talk about and all the stats are unofficial until they are entered into the website by USPSA. So we highly encourage you guys to all please send your score sheets in to USPSA
and us,
and provide that email. Yep.
We appreciate it if you guys send us the score sheets and USPSA, and that helps us and you'll hear us say multiple times in the air, like, we're reporting unofficial scores because we're getting score sheets directly from the tournaments. But you know, in order for the league to have time to get everything official, sometimes we're running just an episode ahead. So if I've been reaching out to a lot of you, and you guys have been great about sending them to me. But like Alex said, everything's unofficial until USPSA does what they got to do with them.
Yeah.
Right. So keep sending those in to USPSA, please.
Yeah, and please send content in too. We need those videos, pictures, whatever to our social media manager, Devin Johnson. We would love to get more content, and we don't want to just keep posting the teaser trailers. We want other stuff.
We want game content. We want pictures, anything. Just send it in from the tournaments. You can just start posting it, and showing you guys kind of what's going on around the league. Not necessarily on the court, but I mean off the court as well. So
I mean, I haven't brought this idea up yet, but maybe we do like a hashtag Doing a Podcast photo, and then maybe the best photo wins a Doing a Podcast sticker. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows? Or a shirt.
Maybe a guest spot on the pod.
Yeah.
Whoa. Let's not get too excited. But I heard something in there. Did I hear Alex tease some merch? Is there some merch coming?
Yes.
Yeah. We got some merch coming down the line, and that's going to be brought to you by Mariah, my wife, and she's doing an incredible job behind the scenes getting merch ready. So coming up soon, we're going to be doing some pre-orders for nationals. So you guys can jump in on that. I think she's going to have a little bit more on that. I think she's going to do an introduction on the social media portion. So stand by for that.
Sweet.
Cool. I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yep.
Amazing. You're checking things off my list of things to talk about, Alex. That's cool.
Yeah.
Question. We're podcast veterans now. 5 episodes in.
Yeah. Right.
I'll just talk about all the stuff I was going to talk about.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, should we get into the results, guys?
I think we should.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it.
Yep.
I got the wrong spreadsheet up on my screen. That's a great start. Yeah.
Yeah, too many spreadsheets.
Totally we're going to edit that out.
Nah. We keep things moving here.
Keep it authentic. We got to keep it authentic here.
It's real. This is how it gets made, right?
As real as it can be.
So, a few things just to kind of jump in about. So if we back up all the way to March 1st, on March 1st, San Jose hosted their San Jose shootout. San Jose, you guys are just like hosting events out there all year long. It was like 5 events, and they all have their own name. Like, keep doing what you're doing. That's cool.
Yeah.
But so on March 1st, we had 3 results. Ducks, Flash, and Steamrollers were all there. So just real quick, the Ducks went 2-0. They beat both teams, the Flash and the Steamrollers. Flash 1-1, Steamrollers 0-2. My question for you guys is, in the beginning of and keep in mind we got another San Jose competition to talk about still in this episode. But my question to you two is, like, when we ranked these teams preseason, we had Flash over Ducks in the Prem in the top conference. Ducks beating Flash 1-0. Does that change anything? I mean, we're going to talk more about that in our May episode, but what are we thinking there?
Honestly, for me, like, between the Flash and the Ducks, they're such an even team. I know, and we'll get to, this last tournament this past weekend, but throughout the year, it's just like, it's a good rivalry because it's back and forth. There's no domination. It's just whoever's having a good day kind of thing. It's such a close battle. So it's hard for me to rank, even like what did I rank them? I ranked them at 5 and I don't know. I can't remember. But
no, that's okay. You got them. Yeah. You had Ducks 7 and Flash 4.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot closer than I thought. A lot closer because the Ducks, they got a lot of veteran presence on their team. They got Stanley Kwan, they got Bart Stawicki, they got both Sawyer bros are back, and Max Brown, and Eddie, and I feel like I'm missing one more. But it's such a star-studded lineup, and so is San Jose Flash. So it's a toss-up.
Sure. No, I think that's fair. I think it's fair.
Yeah,
and I think
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, Josh is out there on the West Coast, so he sees it all go down live. I mean, from an outside view, sitting in the Southeast, I'm watching a result like that. To me, is you're doing the little things in practice to get your chemistry down, to get your positioning down. It sounds like on the Golden State side of it, if you're able to A, shut out the Flash, and B, beat them, that tells me that you're on the right track and you're definitely improving is what it looks like. So I mean, at the end of the day, I 100% agree with Josh. It's going to come down to which team can impose their will on the other team at nationals and have their style of play run out. I mean, you hear that in other sports all the time, style of play, right? Where one team goes really slow, one team goes really fast, and something has to give. So it feels kind of the same here. Somebody's gonna punch, counter punch, and then somebody will deal the final punch, and that's kind of how I see it going down at nationals. So.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that for everyone that's going to be at nationals and you're going to watch a premier level game, I would highly recommend watching that matchup should they play each other during the pool play, because it's a really entertaining matchup to watch because it's just so even, and the technicality of each
Josh,
team is great. Yeah.
For you, do you want to speak a little on, like, I know we all have regional opponents that we meet all the time. So then now you're even more familiar with their game. So does that play a factor into some of these results? I mean, you're just so familiar with what the other team's doing.
That's the thing. That's why a lot of these games are so close, because you know what your opponent's gonna do. You're familiar. You're very, very, very familiar with the game. It's not like you guys where you have to like travel a distance to play, because you guys don't really play the same teams over and over again, correct?
I mean, we do.
You kind
play
of
a
you're a
lot
little
of the
bit.
same teams.
Yeah, but you do host a lot of the same teams. But here out in California, especially in the Bay Area and Northern California, you play the same teams a lot. And so then it becomes a familiarity thing, not issue, but thing.
Right.
You just don't know. Like, for instance, okay, so let me rewind on that. We played the Shockers this past weekend at the Battle of the Bay tournament, and I'm very familiar with the team, or at least I thought I knew, because this past weekend they added 2 new players. And they added Lateef McCloud, who is a 20-year veteran who took a break, and his fiance, she just played her first tournament, crushed it, absolutely crushed it. Brittany, I forget her last name, but she absolutely crushed it, and she changed that whole Board Shockers team.
Wow.
And so, and we lost to them because we were not prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Borp for the record this past weekend 3-1,
which is just
against
wild
some heavy teams in San Jose. But we should move on, and we'll get there not too soon. But guys, what you're talking about is actually a great transition to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is let me get the date here right. Yeah, so this was 2 weekends ago on the 8th of March. Turnstone, another great place that hosts great tournaments. Turnstone hosted their Hoosier Thaw tournament. Lots going on here. But kind of the big thing I feel like we need to talk about, we got to finally see RHI Sudden Impact playing Turnstone Flyers again. In their first match, Sudden Impact takes that 3-0. And then they play again on Sunday, and they draw 1-1. So, we, all 3 of us, have those guys 2 and 3 in the conference. You guys have them ranked 2. I had them ranked 3rd. I'm starting to rethink that a little bit, at least after looking at Saturday. But then Sunday, we see a 1-on-1 defensive match, which is what I would have expected. How do we feel about that?
Yeah, I would say it shows growth on the team. They're probably gelling the chemistry, as we all thought that was going to happen. It looks like it's happening a lot faster than you might think, but that's what happens when you have great talent on a team. They tend to figure it out. It looks like, one thing that keeps flashing in my mind is when Riley mentioned that Turnstone is they go after it big time and they'll have a huge monster game, or they might not. So I wonder if style play comes into play in this one. But I think the 2 teams are starting to get familiar with each other. Where's the open space? I think that's what I love about Power Soccer. There's just so many different things that you can think of that play into different things, and you try and find the advantage for your team. And it looks like this weekend, that past weekend, that it just happens to be in Sudden Impact's favor. Not to say that Turnstone's not a great team, and that maybe next time they play, they could very well beat them. So we'll have to wait and see. But it looks like, these two teams are going to be right there in the end, just like we all suspected. So it's fun to watch them battle it out.
Yeah. Now that RHI Sudden Impact has gotten stronger, do I say that we could see, I don't know.
Here you go.
Ooh,
You know where I'm going with this?
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like we have this conversation.
He's about
Did
to.
we? I can't remember if we did, but
He's gonna throw the firecracker.
I am going to throw the firecracker because that's what we're all about here on the podcast. Do you think that Minnesota Shockwaves will receive their first regular season loss in, 5 seasons?
If Riley were here, he would jump in right now.
Oh, I know.
It's 6.
right.
Gosh.
There's a reason why he's not here and we are here.
I'm glad that he corrected me on that too. That's just
Good-
So
good talk.
what do you guys think? It's very possible.
I think it's great to have 3 really competitive teams at the top of that conference. That's
yeah.
what I think. And
Yeah.
if you made today, if you asked me, I wouldn't
Yeah.
change my ranking. I would say Shockwave 1, Turnstone 2, Impact 3. Simply because Impact's just got to prove it to me on the biggest stage, right?
Right.
But if
Yeah.
we're having this conversation Sunday night at Nationals and any one of those 3 teams is holding the trophy, I'm not surprised.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I totally agree.
My thought is Shockwave best overall team because nobody's proven otherwise.
Right.
X Factor, Michael Archer, right?
Yep.
And the rest of the team. You still, and as for much as we focus on Michael, you still got Jordan over there. You still got Lexi. These guys are stacked too. So
yeah, very stacked.
They're an all-star team even before.
Yeah, they are an all-star team. Yeah.
Even before they got Michael, they were an all-star team.
Right.
I'm almost more interested to see who draws who in the pool in the Premier.
Oh yeah,
because that's going to affect how the rest of it plays out. So
yeah,
true.
That'll be an interesting call on whoever has to make that decision. And luckily, it's not.
Yeah.
Me, so
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Say the 2 board members. Okay. All right. Well, so moving on from Premier a little bit. Another thing that I thought was so interesting about Turnstone is we saw Chicago Fire, Aspo Force, and Strap Scorpions all kind of play each other. And remarkably, and there was another team there too, Dasa Cyclones, all Champions Conference teams. Scorpions, Force, and Fire all came away with a 1-win, 1-draw, 2-loss record. Dasa, 2 draws, 2 losses. So these are really close games in a Champions Conference that I thought, frankly, 2 months ago, Chicago Fire would run away with, honestly.
Yeah.
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 It just speaks to how stacked the Champions Conference is. Good luck navigating that conference. Every team that's in there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I was talking to somebody this past time. I forget who it was, but there's really no drop off. At all in this league anymore. It's like everybody is so close. Founders and presidents are catching up as far as skill wise and play style wise. It's just the product of the sport is just getting astronomically better and better and better and better. And I think that's just so awesome to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
100%.
You never know what's going to happen now. Because everybody's gotten better. And I love it. And I think almost everybody has a strike force here, if not 99%. Yeah.
what a game changer,
Yeah.
out there. Everybody has a strike force now. So yes, that levels the playing field. And now, just it's amazing because at practice, I jump into the chair sometimes just to play goalie. And, the team gets super excited. Like, oh, coach is in. Oh, I got coach. I got coach. And then I'm trying to maneuver around.
Easy
And
money.
I'm like all over the place. And they're just like cutting it with the joystick.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So
Yeah. It's I guess we make it look easy. I mean, we don't know any better. I mean, it's just like when my dad gets in the chair, he's like throwing his arms up in the air and his legs are flailing left and right. Like he can't keep his body in because his chairs are so herky jerky.
yeah.
For a second, I pictured your dad like laying on his stomach in your chair with his legs flying everywhere.
Not my chair.
And I was like, wait, that's not what
he would be
saying.
real Superman. He would be really Superman in it.
Man.
And laying down on the job, as Steve would like to say.
Laying down on the job, right? Exactly. That's a golden one. We'll remember forever. Iconic podcast.
That should be on. You know what? That might be on our merch shirt. Just saying, laying down on the job.
It'll be on the DVD.
I like that.
Available.
I liked it.
Yeah, there you go. That works.
Amazing.
Oh man.
I got some bait for Alex.
Sure.
Oh,
Alex, we talked a lot a couple months ago about Motor City Eagles and Mary Freebed Overdrive.
My dark horse.
Heck
oh
yeah.
yeah, that's right.
They're making me look so good. Thanks, guys.
Are making you look so good. Alex was hype on Motor City Eagles.
Yes,
Motor
he
City
was.
Eagles
I've never met
4-0
any of
this
them.
weekend. Yeah.
That's amazing that they went 4-0. Who do they play against?
Well, so
I mean,
sorry, go ahead. I was just going to name the team. So in the Founders Conference at Turnstone a couple weekends ago, Motor City Eagles, Mary Freebed Overdrive, RHI Inferno, and Turnstone Furious Flyers. RHI Inferno and Furious Flyers both had no wins. Inferno 2 draws, 2 losses. Furious Flyers 1 draw, 4 losses. Motor City Eagles and Mary Freebed Overdrive went head to head. Motor City won that by 1.
Wow.
1-0. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna stick with what I've been saying. Those two teams are tops on the conference, along with I really like Colorado. We're going to talk more about all these teams next month. Rose City, their defense concerns me a little bit, but I'm still pretty high on these teams. So I mean, what a great matchup that must have been.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for that matchup, for that tournament.
Yeah, that'll be a good one at nationals as well.
Yeah, what'd you say, Bill?
Sorry, I wonder if those videos are out. Last Turnstone tournament, those videos are online. I haven't had a chance to check, so they may be on the Turnstone site. That's where they were last time.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. So good result.
Loving it.
It looks like they're playing at a high level. So I don't know their exact chemistry, but again, I'm assuming whatever they're doing in practice is going pretty good. I did get to witness Mary Freebed a little bit at the Tidewater tournament, and I don't know if Nikki wants to jump in on this, but at one point they were leading the Tidewater A team.
Bait.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Nikki,
I'm waiting for Nikki.
There she is.
Those classes.
Oh yeah.
Care to elaborate on this, Nikki?
Well, I think it was just a tricky game. It was early in the morning, which is tough for our team.
Yeah.
And
Our team.
Yeah.
Mary Freebed definitely looks a lot different than they did last season.
Okay.
So kudos to them.
Wow. Mary Freebed Overdrive.
100%.
Okay.
So
Good to hear.
So they were up for a little bit, and then you guys came back and were able to put them away, right, Nikki?
She's done. She
Yes,
left.
that is correct.
He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Yeah.
It wasn't our best game.
Sure.
But
Sure.
yeah, we went back and forth. So like they scored, and then we would turn around and score. But we just barely won. I think 4-3, like at the very end.
Which, and I can understand from your position. You know, you're playing a team from a lower conference, and you're like, we probably should have done better, right? I think everybody thinks that when we chop it up. But then on the flip side, my other thought is, well, Mary Freebed. Man, what a confidence boost that must be to be able to like hold their own with the team that's higher up on the totem pole than they are. So,
Yeah.
You know, shout out to them. So
Yeah, that's great.
Also, Tidewater because you put the game on. So good job.
That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do is finish. I mean, a 1-0 win or a 10-1 win. Okay, you know, it's like put those games away.
Yeah.
You know, what do they say? A win is a win, right?
A win is a win. Speaking of a win is a win, we had a tournament, the Battle Debate tournament. The Gophers. Bill knows where I'm going with this one, but
excellent transition, my friend.
Thank you. So I got to see the Los Angeles Angels for the first time. Awesome jerseys, by the way. They have like a Laker inspired kind of uniform.
Sweet.
Very sick looking.
Send us pictures. Angels.
Yeah, send us a picture. Actually, I'll also have the picture on here.
Burger's got one. He works here.
Yeah.
We'll get it from him.
Yeah, so I got a picture and I'll throw it up. But yeah, what's up, Alex?
No, I thought they would run along the lines of Anaheim, right? With the
no, they went the Laker route. They went the Laker route on this one.
All right.
Yeah. They went the Laker.
With that.
No, you can't argue with that one at all. No, as long as they don't go
championship power soccer over
Look, as long as they don't go Dodger blue, I'm fine with it. Okay, we don't have to talk about that.
More baseball with this kid.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got my baseball. So anyhow, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so I got to see the LA Angels. You know, Joel Rodriguez is on that team. Julian Perez. They got a couple of new players. But I will say this one kid named Chase Christensen, I think. I could be wrong on the last name, but Chase, 14 years old. My goodness, he's a heck of a player, and it was only his second tournament ever, and he absolutely was just on fire, and so much potential in this kid, so much potential.
Yeah.
And
Chase Christensen scoring goals already, according to mine.
He did score a couple of goals. Yeah. Unfortunately, one of them was an Owen goal, as my dad would like to call it. Owen.
Owen?
Scoring.
Yep. Yeah, well,
I don't know about that.
The Chico Gophers. Yeah, the Chico Gophers were playing the LA Angels, and it was a hard-fought game, 0-0, until the 39th minute, and just a kind of a goofy kick, and didn't know what to do with it, and got our own goal. It's like, so everybody kind of like, what do we do? Do we celebrate? Do we not celebrate? I mean, it's just kind of an awkward situation, and
it's such a tough concept, though. Like, I can't fault anybody, especially in our sport where the ball moves faster than my eyes.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
Sometimes. It's like, what's the difference between a bounce and a, like, own goal doesn't mean I walked down the court and put in the wrong net. It's like,
right, exactly.
That's a bad bounce. Right. That's what that means. I mean, it's not
exactly
anything other than that. We talked about one earlier this year that Chicago Fire caught
right, exactly.
Chair. It's like, there's nothing like, that sucks in the moment. It's horrible.
It's just an unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
It would have bounced off somebody else if it didn't bounce off you. Like it's just the speed at which our game moves.
But you know what? This kid that inadvertently did it. He had a good attitude about it, and he just I think he was just laughing and smiling and just like, okay, well, it happens. So, and but yeah, it was a hard fought game, and it's just unfortunate that it had to end that way when it was such a hard fought.
Is that game up on the Chico website?
No, not yet. And I was unfortunate. I could not record it. Just didn't have the manpower to get somebody to record it. So I think there might be clips of the game that I might throw up, but overall, LA Angels are a team to be looking out for.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I think we ranked them pretty high preseason.
I think so. I can't remember why I ranked
That
them.
we were really split on Angels. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay, thank you.
I have Angels ranked 3rd in the conference. Alex had him 4th. Josh, you had him 8th, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna swallow my words on that. I'm gonna.
It's all right. We're all wrong.
Good
Not
thing-
wrong.
higher.
Good thing May's right around the corner, Josh.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I got
I
a
was
couple
actually-
picks that I need to redeem on. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we all do, honestly. And I'm glad you brought up Angels specifically because hearing you talk about what happened at the tournament
Yeah.
versus like I get, I'm lucky. I love this job, honestly. But they
Yeah.
send me score sheets and I put the spreadsheet together for us to
Yeah.
look at.
Mhm.
Looking at it on paper, like my impression of the Angels weekend much different than like you're telling me. So
Yeah.
I think that's like it's great to have somebody who's at the tournament have that perspective.
Yeah.
Minor plug. That's why we ask you guys to send us,
Yeah.
content because it's like we can only glean so much from the
Right.
score sheets.
It's one of those things where like the score sheet doesn't tell the whole story.
Right.
And so it's like the scoreboard, like you can look at a hockey score and it's 3-1, but really it was 2-1 because of an empty net. So it's like
Yep.
it's those kind of things. Scoreboard doesn't always tell the whole story.
100%.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like you went hockey and not baseball.
Hey, I'm
Those are only two
multifaceted.
sports
I am
he knows,
multifaceted, man. I can throw cricket in there if you want. No, I can't. I don't know cricket, but multifaceted.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
hilarious because we can see the future here on Three in the Box podcast.
Yeah.
I know that in the very next segment,
Yes.
which is an interview with our good buddy Mike McCoy,
Mm-hmm.
Josh references both baseball and hockey in that
Nice.
segment. So
Oh, I can't remember.
yes, you do, and I know that. 'cause
I like the consistency.
Well, there you go.
So we're fully on brand, but like we see the future because we actually shot that last.
Yeah, exactly.
These guys are gonna see it next. I love it.
That's funny.
Just to kind of recap, and I'm gonna start at the top because this is just a minor thing I'm gonna say. I was right about the LA Galaxy, who went 4-0-0 in San Jose this past weekend.
They killed it.
I was really high on them. I continue to be very high on them in terms of the Premier Conference. To be fair, I have them 4th. These guys have them 6th and 5th, respectively. San Jose Flash, San Jose Steamrollers, and Borp Shockers all finished 3-1. The Golden State Ducks split their games 2-2. Chico 1 win, 3 losses, and then Angels and LAFC had 4 losses. Without getting into it too much, there was a post-game speed test fail at this tournament that flipped a result. And then there was also, it was just there was a red card there's a red or a yellow card in this. Lots going on in San Jose this weekend. So
Yeah.
it
was a big turnout, but again, these are all unofficial,
all unofficial
all
results.
unofficial. Yeah.
All
So,
So don't take my word for it,
Yep.
but just a
Right,
lot of
right.
stuff. And I said there was a red card. I don't know that it was red or yellow, and I don't. Mean
I
to
don't
throw anybody under the
remember
bus.
even seeing a red card.
There
or
was a
yellow
card in the game, so
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
I must have missed out.
What's going on?
So
Yeah.
somebody's
stuff.
probably a league leader right now. Yellow cards.
In cards, yeah, for sure, 100%.
Is that something you want to be in?
Hey, man, if your name's at the top, I mean, I don't know what the reason for the card was, so I'm not,
For sure.
I don't know what it was, but
That's great. That's awesome.
cool.
Well, I
So
think that,
awkward
Yeah.
silence
N-
where
no,
all of
I'm-
us talk, then none of us talk.
I'm thinking this might be a good segue to the next part.
To our interview with the renowned Mike
Mm-hmm.
McCoy,
Yeah.
supervisor of officials. We had a really great talk with him last week. We got into a lot of stuff. We'll take you to that interview now, and we
Well,
appreciate you.
can I say something real quick?
I wish you would.
Yeah, Bill, Alex, and I had talked about, what do we want to do on this podcast, and we wanted to kind of think outside the box, no pun intended, but we wanted to do something different that no other sport really does for the podcast. We thought, why don't we just interview a referee, get an inside perspective of a referee, because nobody does that. And so we want to,
Yeah.
because the referees are people too. And so we want to hear their side and, want to see, why they got into it and how they got into it and all that fun stuff. So that's just what I wanted to add before Bill took over.
Yeah, no, and it was a great interview. I learned a lot. We asked Mike some questions that when we wrote them, I was like, I don't know if he's going to answer these. And he was very open with us. I think you guys will really enjoy the interview. And just as a minor last note, I know the last few episodes have been kind of long. We're trying to do our best to, censor ourselves or at least, time box ourselves. So what you're about to see is a condensed version of the interview. We will post the full interview. So if you're interested in watching kind of the extended cut, we'll have it on the videos page of the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to watch that as well if you want to see
Right.
it. But I think with that, guys, we can go to the interview.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Right. Appreciate you all. We'll see you in April. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 3 in the Box podcast powered by Power Soccer Shop. Tonight, we're talking to Supervisor of Officials for USPSA and APFC, Mr. Mike McCoy. Mike, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast.
Glad to do it.
Appreciate having you here. Mike's been giving Josh a hard time for the last few minutes, which we also appreciate. But Mike, just going to jump right into it. I mean, if you don't mind, tell us about your history in power soccer. How'd you get started, and what made you go from being a casual referee to as involved as you are in the game?
2009 is when I started, and a friend of mine, a college referee up here, was trying to recruit some of us to go down to Indianapolis and take the ref course. And two of us were talking about it, and we weren't really busy that weekend, but didn't feel like doing it. And we got to Thursday, and I called him. I says, what the hey, let's just go down and see what this is about. Just trying to keep up with everything that's happening in Indiana. And we went down, and Mulholland was teaching the class, and Dominic and Karen had sponsored the class, and we just other than Mike Archer backing into me with the handle of his chair, which ought to give you an idea what happened. It was a great day, and we fell in love with it. I don't know what it is about it per se, but we just really have enjoyed it. Actually, I think that was maybe early spring, late winter when we did that, and nothing had worked out till nationals that year, and I went down to that, and 4 days of exposure right there, and there was a good crew of people: Mark Jones, Chris Mulholland, Andy Green, Doug Wolf, all of them, and everybody did what I hope we still do, is really work with everybody and help bring the new ones that were there along. And after that, a couple of years later, Karen was the program in Indiana was Power Soccer of Indy, and Karen was running that, and Dominic, and that was it was a real strong organization at that point in time. And she finally asked me if I wanted to take care of the referees for that. So that was my first foray into that. And we were able to bring a lot of referees in up here in Fort Wayne. I think at one point we had 14, 15 referees just from the Fort Wayne area. So we had the strongest pool, and did that for a while. And then I don't even remember how I ended up getting involved with USPSA, sorry. Whether that was after Steve came in or before. But anyway, somebody requested me to do the supervisor of officials for that. And so I took that on. And then I think 2 years ago, took on the role with APFC.
Well, you were head of. So what I remember is my first year coaching was 2018, and you ran the coaches meeting that year. So you were at least, I think, supervisor before 2018 or by 2018.
Yeah, that sounds about.
And Steve was like 2020, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
So yeah.
So anyway, you don't remember.
Whatever.
But I remember.
Whatever. No, yeah.
Because I remember my first coaches meeting, and it was with you. I remember.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome that, like, just to hear the origin story and that it hooked you, right? Like, because you started, and you were telling me this off air before, but you started as a able-bodied soccer official, correct?
Right. Yep. I started when my oldest son started reffing. He was probably 12, 13, somewhere in there. And he decided he wanted to take the referee class. So I went with him, and I figured I can't do any worse than some of the guys I've been watching. So
Yeah.
That's funny. That kills
me. And I've just enjoyed it. It's keeps me physically active and somewhat in shape.
So you got to be on your tippy toes when you're running around in the middle of the court with 8 wheelchairs. I mean, I've seen referees get taken out.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a pretty sight.
My first recommendation is, have I? Yes.
Oh.
And it was not while a game was going on.
Of course it was.
3 of us were standing at halftime on the far side of the court talking, and I had my back to this guy.
Oh,
and
no.
He comes flying across backwards. It's like,
yeah.
You got to look where you're going, dude.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time I've really been taken out. I think the worst takeout I think I've seen was Allison Hayes, and we were working on 2 courts real close to each other, and she's going down on one court, and somebody didn't see her and was taking a spin kick and just nailed her shin.
Oh gosh!
But I'll tell you what, that kid just kept going, and I don't think she hardly got bruised, because I saw her a couple of weeks later, and how it didn't break her leg, I don't know.
I've seen grown people cry over it before.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
That's commendable.
Bust your leg if you got hit just right. I mean, that could easily.
Yeah.
Just like 2 weeks ago, I was in Minneapolis for a tournament, and Andrew and I were sitting on the corner of the court watching Shockwave, and Pete kept coming over and like taking shots from my corner. And at one point, because I kept moving, right? I would move like 3 feet down and give Pete room, because I don't want to get hit by Pete Winslow in a spin kick.
Right.
But like the one time I was like not paying as much attention, so instead of moving, I like turned my chair to get out of his way. And during the game, I say to Pete, I'm like, Pete, am I out of your way? And he goes, we're about to find out. And he just rifled it.
Wow.
And I was like, thank God he missed me. But he knows. I mean, he knows. But I wouldn't want to get hit, even in my chair. Like, I wouldn't want to get hit by that.
No. I've been fortunate. I got clipped in the heel one time. I was sore for days, but that's the worst I've gotten so far. So knock on wood. But
I've been backed into. Tyler Engel took me out backwards in practice, but that was my fault. I've never gotten hit with a spin kick though. Like, I think that would.
You would have gone flying if you spun kick you.
Yeah, I can't. From Pete.
I just thought of another one that I always try to forget, because I was doing the third place game in the World Cup over in Paris.
Oh, I know where this is going. Yep, I know where this is going.
I'm in the middle of the court setting the ball down, and somebody comes up behind me, and I didn't know they were there. And I back up, and all I caught was the corner of the cage.
Oh, God.
And off down I go.
Yeah.
And Pika was playing, and he comes flying up. He says, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I says, "I'm fine. Get the ball in play." this is a televised game, so I'm going.
Oh my
get it.
gosh.
The sooner we go, the sooner we forget it.
Oh, that's wild. So one of the questions, really the next question on our list, Mike, that we're going to ask you is like, what's different about like officiating able soccer versus power soccer? Is it that you're dodging wheelchairs, or what? Like for you as a ref, what's different between the two games?
I think physically it's a lot harder doing an outdoor game because you're on such a larger area. That's one of the things that's nice and helps us to recruit referees is that, hey guys, you don't have to run that great big field anymore.
Sure.
Right.
But in order to referee with us, you got to go out on the middle of I-69 and practice dodging cars.
Yeah. It's like Frogger.
What's that?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
or like that dodgeball movie. Like if you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball.
Right.
Yep. So those are probably, and of course we all know power soccer's gotten so much faster with the new chairs and everything, and that's probably the hardest thing we deal with now because we're still trying to figure out where to be, as that traffic's moving around.
Yeah, that's gotta be terrifying a little bit at first.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you become comfortable when the strike force kind of became more mainstream?
I'm still not comfortable. No, I'm dead. I'm dead serious in saying that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
None of us are.
Yeah.
Because we're with the old chairs that were slower. We had learned positions and how to move and so forth.
Right.
With the faster chairs, we're still changing our position, and none of us are happy with exactly where we're at, because we're stuck more to the middle, and most of us like to get down to the end line where we can see that ball come across the line and so forth.
Right.
And it's much harder to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have some type of rule of thumb or like something that you would give a tip to the other referees, like, hey, this is kind of what I look out for, this is what you should look out for?
I think it would be, I try to keep track in my mind where the 8 chairs are. Okay. Is if I've got 7 of the 8 chairs in front of me, I know the only thing behind me is the goalie or whoever's playing that position at the moment.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm okay to back up or to move one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah. And it goes both ways too. Like the person has to trust you to move out of the way too. And so it goes both ways. Yeah.
And it's easier in the upper levels because you kind of know where they're going.
Right.
In the lower levels.
That's very true. Yeah.
In the lower levels or players who aren't real steady in their chair, you don't know where they're going to go. Even though you think that lane's there, it may not be there in half a second.
Right. Well, I mean,
Go ahead. I was just saying, nobody's fault. It's just that's the way they are, the way they're like. We deal with it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that being said, I mean, what makes you want to keep coming back to officiate power soccer?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Good answer. That's
a good answer.
It's just in the blood. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
For the most part, power soccer is a big family. We all know that.
Oh yeah.
And do we get pissed at each other every once in a while? Yeah.
Never.
When you guys play a perfect game and you coach a perfect game, I'll call a perfect game. None of us are going to do that.
No.
So none of the referees are out there to screw up. Do we make mistakes occasionally? You bet your life we do.
Yeah. We're all human. We're not doing robot. We're not doing robot umps. No baseball robot umps.
Nope. We don't have that little box.
No. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, that's great.
Well, and
You
that's
know,
a good perspective too, though. Like I never thought about it like that because it's like, you think about, coaching. As a coach, like I'm trying to coach players to. I'm not trying to coach them to be perfect. I'm trying to coach them to be as good as they can be at all times and to make the best decisions they can. And that's the same as a coach, right? Like I joke with my co-coaches about and I've even said on this podcast, there's a moment from 2019, a decision I made that haunts me in a championship game. Like it's got to be the same for referees. Not that you're haunted, not that anything should haunt you, because you can't achieve perfection, right? And we don't want robots out there. That's what makes it fun. That's why we play the game, and that's
and there's outside of the little bit of classwork we give, and working with them once they're on the court, there's only one place for us to learn.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's out there, So and that's why, I told you before we started. I had four new referees in Fort Wayne this weekend. And
Amazing.
I tried to tell the coaches. I says, you got new guys. You're going to have to live with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all good about it. They said, yeah, okay. And
Right.
we were working with them. Whoever was on the court with them was with them. They all did. We talked earlier about how many referees I have in Indiana, which is a blessing. So for the most part, my guys don't go into the middle for a year. Where most places they've got to, jump right into the middle and go. So the guys here get a chance to get acclimated before they jump into that.
Yeah. Kind of get your feet wet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Because when I can bring in referees from the outdoor game, it's real easy to teach them this game because it's the same game. We get rid of offsides, but we have two on one, and three in the area. Those are really the only two differences between the game.
Right.
You get two of you going down the court banging each other. As long as it's legal and not too hard, is two guys running down the field shoulder to shoulder going after a ball.
Yeah.
That's the way I've always tried to look at it.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit, our game recently lost one of its most important officials ever. What was your experience with the late Chris Mulholland, and how do you affect the way you officiate?
Chris affected everything that I did because he was he taught the first class that I was in. And those that don't know, Chris was one of the originals in power soccer, helped literally write the rules, knew them better than any of us. When I was able to work with him a few different times, when I finally wanted to get my FIPFA license, I talked to him about it, and he says, yeah, I'm having a class out in Vancouver if you want to come out. And I'm going, oh, well, okay, all right. So I literally jumped on a plane, flew out to Vancouver. Now, I'll tell a tale on that one real quick, though. That'll make me look stupid, because I get to the airport 3 minutes before I'm ready to go on the plane. Guess who doesn't have their passport?
Oh no.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, I'm flying into Seattle.
Okay.
So I call my wife. I say, get my passport, go to FedEx, and we'll get it, send it out to me.
Yep.
So I find this little Airbnb thing on the literally on the Canadian border. I mean, if you walk out his back door 30 feet, you're in Canada.
Oh.
Nice.
Guy had some unbelievable stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, by about noon the next day, it finally showed up, and so then I could get across the border and get back. And I kept telling this guy, I said, I can see where I got to go. You don't want to.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so anyway, got my class, got my FIP badge at that point, and that's just thanks to him and me letting me do it. I've had a whole world of things open up to me, and I can never thank him enough. The first Virginia tournament, I was able to go out and do it, and was able to go over to his house and have dinner and spend some time with him and Barb, and eternally grateful for that. And he came out a couple different times to the tournament. He was still getting around pretty good at that point. So but it's it was just so easy to work with him and learn from him because he knew it so well.
Yeah, I felt like he was one of the best.
Oh, absolutely.
And my family had our own personal experience with the Mahans because we were on Tidewater for a while, and he was just such a leader. Like, he would bring everybody in, he would make sure that everybody felt heard. He was always positive and encouraging, and just he brought out the best in people. I think that's what I'm gonna remember Chris for. So,
yep, we're gonna miss him, no question.
Yeah.
It's hard to transition away from talking about Chris, because I feel like even in my limited time with him, I feel like there's a lot of stories I could tell, and I've told these guys and I've told other people.
Yeah.
But in thinking about Chris and never ever be able to replace his presence on a power soccer court, but thinking about his legacy and how you build good officials, right? Mike, I asked you off air kind of this question, but how do you create or begin to create a pipeline of referees in this sport? How do we get people passionate about it to want to officiate power soccer?
That's the kicker part. If we can get them there, 9 times out of 10, they're hooked.
Yeah.
It's just getting them there. I've tried to figure out how to get them there, and it's different in different areas.
Sure.
The biggest problem we have down south is that outdoor referees go 7 or 12 months a year. So they don't need something else to do. They're already beyond busy. Up north, we kind of use this as a winter thing along with indoor soccer. So you can attract them that way. I haven't figured out an answer.
And that's an honest answer, and I appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate that you're willing to talk honestly about that, because we think about it and we talk about it.
Well, yeah, and hey, if somebody's got an idea, let me know. Because although we love having parents and whatever involved and coming in to be soccer referees, they're at a huge loss over bringing in an outdoor referee that's been refereeing for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Because I don't have to teach them the basics of soccer or how to handle people, how to handle players. They've got all that down. The only thing I have to teach them is 3 in the box and 2 on 1, and how to stay out of the way.
Yeah.
Other than that, they've pretty much got it.
Yeah, got to be light on your feet.
And I should mention, guys, we said we were going to do this. That question I just asked you about the referee pipeline, that was a viewer submitted question. That was Tyler Engel asked that question.
Great question, Tyler. Yep. Thank you for bringing that up.
So I kind of want to stay in that realm a little bit and just kind of ask you, if there was one narrative about referees and power soccer that you wish people would change their mindset about, it would be blank.
Number one, we don't care who wins.
Yeah.
I like that.
We're not, 99% of the referees don't have a dog in the fight. So, who wins, we don't care. A little bit back to what we talked about earlier. Are we going to be perfect? Not going to happen. Most of us do the best we can do, and we don't like making mistakes. If somebody's hollering at us about a call, we know whether 9 times out of 10 we know whether we were right or whether we were wrong.
Right.
Sure.
And
Does it change the way you react, Mike, if you know it's wrong versus you know it's right? Like if I'm hollering at you from the bench that you did something wrong, does it change your reaction if you
would never do that?
Yeah.
we all know I would. We all know I have.
I've seen it.
I'll own that.
It depends a little bit. One of the things I was back in old referee training, one of the things I was taught is most of the time they're not yelling at me. They're yelling at the yellow shirt.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah.
So try not to take it on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have the best high school college coach here for yelling at people, because Pat would yell at you, and he wouldn't yell unless he was right. And so if you heard Pat yell something, you knew you'd screwed up. Take it to heart, move on. And that was it. He didn't come back to it. He didn't holler about it 10 minutes later. He just let you know you screwed up, and everybody went on. And so, we don't always hear it. It depends how involved you are in the game, of course. But when you do to it, you review it in your mind. Did I screw up? Yeah. Okay. If I did, if the game hasn't gone on, I can fix it if I feel necessary. If the game started again, we're all living with it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
That's so true. Yeah, I never thought of it that way. You're yelling at the shirt, not at the person.
Yeah.
That's 1,000,000% true. And we just got done talking about
true.
Chris Mulholland. I'll never forget a game in 2018 where I challenged a call. I literally paid $50 and challenged a call. But you know what I did that night? You know what I did that night?
Wasted $50.
I wasted $50. I did. And I had a beer with Chris Mulholland in the hotel lobby.
Oh my God.
And that's true. That happened.
Yeah.
And you sit and talk about it.
Absolutely. And you know what? We talked about it for 5 minutes, and then we were talking about something else.
Yeah.
Because, as much as I did believe in that moment he was wrong, it doesn't change. He was doing his best and I was doing mine. Truthfully. That's what happened. And I knew that, and he knew that. So I appreciate that perspective.
Well, we had one last weekend. A coach didn't agree with a call that I made. It was somebody spinning and somebody else driving in. Who started first?
Right.
He didn't necessarily agree with me. I was right, but that's another story. But we talked about it for a couple of minutes. He understood what I saw.
Yep.
We moved on.
Yeah.
Sure. And what I'm thinking this whole time is that you must have incredibly thick skin to because there are so many times that myself included, I've been there. I have yelled at the ref and in a moment of frustration, but I'm sure you get it a lot, so much to the point where you kind of have to filter it and realize that as bad as it is that we're yelling, which I've tried to lay off of ever since I took that ref course. I swear, I've been oh, no, I get it. Because when you get in that middle,
every coach should have to take the course.
I actually agree with you. I 1,000,000% agree with you, because
that should be a requirement.
I think everybody would calm down a little bit if we all took the ref course, because it's so there's so many calls where you're just well, should I blow the whistle? Should I not blow the whistle? And then the play doesn't stop; it just keeps going and going.
No.
Yeah.
By the time you finish thinking it, we're three plays past it.
Exactly, and there could have been another blown whistle. So I get that part of it. So that being said, you know, you got to deal with fans, players, coaches. What I mean, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling other refs? What do you do to stay in a positive mindset and just filter that stuff out?
Once in a while, it'll get under me.
Sure.
I can only think of 2 or 3 in power soccer where I've reacted, and I shouldn't have, but I did.
Right.
But
you're human.
Yeah, it wasn't Bill, was it?
I was gonna say Alex, but
yeah,
he hesitated when he
Come on.
hesitated before you.
I'm somewhere. I'm somewhere in the list, but
but you just you can't sit there and let it eat you. You've got to move on because, like we just said, in 3 seconds you're 4 plays on. So you've got to move on. Probably the funnest one I had along that line, we were in Wooster, Ohio, doing a tournament, and some old grandpa was over in the bleachers, just ripping me a new one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One after the other. Finally, I stopped the game and I turned. And he stands up. He says, "Don't worry, I'm leaving." And he got up and walked out.
Nice.
I know it was me. I know.
Yeah,
He gave
exactly.
himself a red card. He gave himself.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. I love it.
It was, that one caught me off guard. It was hilarious.
So what you're saying is that's not his first rodeo.
Evidently not.
He's hollered at referees before in his.
Yeah. He knows
So-
there's a tolerance level.
That's amazing.
I guess like within that, the ones that get under your skin, are people personally attacking you, or are they just hammering you about a certain call, or what? You know, I don't want you to give out the formula of how to get under your skin, but
You get under my skin, make it personal. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I won't put up with it.
Right, of course.
Shouldn't.
The fact that I wear glasses is not my fault.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm 69 years old is not my fault.
No.
Talk to my mom and dad. I don't,
No. Oh my gosh.
There's certain things that we can't help. It's the same as you all. You're disabled one way or the other. We don't stand over here and make fun of you, except for Josh.
Except for
right.
Josh.
that's all right.
So don't make it personal.
Yeah.
Why? Every episode. Golly.
Beyond that, once in a while, if they just keep going and going,
Sure.
you'll have enough of it. But the occasional, yelling 2-on-1 or whatever,
Is there
that just rolls off the duck's back.
is there a proper way to deal with that? Let's just say somebody just keeps going and going and going. At what point do you say, okay, my next step is, and then my next step is that part of the training?
No.
Okay.
No.
Or at your own discretion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a little bit of a hammer with coaches, more so than we do with fans. But again, being the smallness of what we have here, we can deal with fans a little bit more. We had a coach a few years back who went off on me, and I reacted probably a little too strenuously, in hindsight. But enough was enough. And again, another old thing I was taught a long time ago. Every one of us have a different tolerance for everything in our lives every day based on what that day was. Some days I can take it all day long. Some days maybe I had a bad day the day before, and it's carrying over, and I'm not putting up with it.
Right.
Sure. So you're saying you're human?
Bingo.
Yeah.
When they figure out how to use computers, I'm out of a job.
Ooh.
God, I don't think I want to play in that league. I really don't.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
First of all, it's no fun to yell at a robot.
No.
Right.
That's true.
Fun at
There's
all.
no. I mean,
I gotta
I think
ask-
that's part of any sport. Like, you don't want. Yeah, you want to be more correct calls, but half the entertainment is the referees. So, like, everybody hated Angel
Absolutely.
Hernandez. Angel Hernandez, if you guys don't know, umpire for Major League Baseball, the worst referee.
Well,
but
he was terrible.
he was terrible. But now that he's gone, I
objectively
kind of miss that.
You do not.
Well, when it's not against my Giants, but yeah.
They did like a well, and whatever. We should not go into this. This is soccer related. Josh and I started talking about baseball. This is gonna I'm going to ask another viewer submitted question because it just goes along with what we're saying. My good friend Annie Heathcote, who says she's retired, but I'm trying to change that. My good friend Annie Heathcote wanted to know, Mike, how many red cards do you think you've given in your career versus how many red cards did you want to give in your career?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that.
We're talking power soccer?
Yeah. And
yes.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think I've given any.
Really?
Really?
No straight reds? Okay.
No, I don't think I've ever given a straight red.
Wow.
The only one I can really think of, Andy Green and I have, and I used to do it with Chris too, the veterans wheelchair games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there was one time this vet got ticked off at Andy, and he was dropping the F-bomb one after the other, and Andy went up to him and he says, "Do you want to change what you're saying? Try to give him an out. I mean, they're veterans. They have their own way of dealing with things."
Yep.
Nope. He kept going. So
wow.
So he finally dropped him a straight red, and guy comes back for a game the next day, and I'm here to play. No, you're not.
No.
What? I'm gonna go talk to the head honcho. Okay, go ahead.
Have you ever given a procedural red? Like, I remember a game. I don't know if you'll remember this game, but there was a game at a Nationals. I feel like the statute of limitations has gone on this, so I feel like I can talk about it. But there was a game at Nationals where Tyler Engel, for Warriors, for us, he'd gone out of bounds. Like, he left the court and came back through the goal.
Don't get me started.
Or something.
Okay.
And I will always remember this. Like, you got down on a knee and were talking to Tyler almost like very one-on-one. And I remember walking over and Tyler looked at me and he gave me a look like, back up, don't come over here. And I just backed up and went back to the bench. And after the game, Tyler's like, "You should have given me a red there. You needed to leave it alone." And I did, and he was right.
Yep.
But have you ever given a procedural red for something like that?
No, because the red there is basically if you've denied the goal scoring opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time that doesn't happen. Usually it's somebody going around the goalpost because they don't even know they're not supposed to.
Right.
Most of the time we'll give a yellow on that. But no, like I said, I don't. Maybe one red card in since 2009 when I started, but I'm not even sure about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised with that answer.
I am too.
Not just because of longevity. I would think that at some point you would have given a red, but I like that answer. So
yeah. And I'd be honest in saying I don't think we give enough cards in the U.S.
Yeah,
we've been kind of soft on that. I mean, Europe hands them out like they're
they're handing them out like they're
trading
candy.
cards.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think anybody
if
could argue.
if we can find that happy medium, that'll be a good thing.
I
So
think
then
hopefully
Sorry, go ahead.
Hopefully with Mark and in his new position,
Yes, yeah.
some changes will come for the good of all.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Mark Jones is now, he's the director of sports at
Yes.
FIFA?
Yep.
Okay. That's good. And what did that
huge.
like exactly entail?
Well,
his
he's
position?
basically in charge of referee education, coaching education, player
Mhm.
education,
Okay.
and there's probably some other fine
Yeah.
line things to it.
Mhm.
And then Doug Wolf just took over that spot
Yeah.
for the APFC.
Yep.
So
Congratulations,
he and I-
Doug.
Yep.
Mhm.
So he and
And
I are
Mark.
working to get, I've got the referees for that. So, we'll work together a lot on projects for that.
That's great.
Sweet. Yeah. That's awesome. And can you just explain to everybody why it's important to have a American referee in that entire process? Just
FIPFA has always been run by Europe for the most part.
Mhm.
And I would submit that they haven't been the friendliest to referees.
Mm.
And they, I may get in trouble for all this, but whatever. They've not been the friendliest to ideas coming from the States.
Mhm.
They tend to want to do it their way, and that's okay. When you've got the hammer, that's the way life is. So hopefully having Mark in there will begin to soften that a little bit, and they'll understand where we're coming from on some things, and again, take those levels and get a little bit of balance where everybody has some input.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that having the diversity of all the different regions represented is it means
It's a good thing.
so much. It's absolutely a good thing. You have to have diversity in the room. So and by having somebody that represents our side of the pond over there in the decision room, I think that's a huge step for everybody.
Yep.
Mike, how excited do you get to referee on the biggest stage in power soccer? I know you're supposed to be cool, calm, and collected, but come on. I mean, there's got to be something that you look forward to.
Yeah. The probably the biggest game I've done was the third place game I mentioned earlier in 2011. That I was in the middle of. Last year at the World Cup, I was the fourth official when Doug was in the middle, which was also fun. Yeah, those are exciting. You have to temper yourself a little bit.
Of course.
My theory to it, that I came up with before doing it, as heart's running and all this stuff, and I just said to myself, this is just a game. It's the same game you've done for 10 years. Nothing's going to be any different except the stage is bigger, and you're on TV, so don't screw up. Well, that's so much for that.
Oh man.
But that's sort of what the way I tried to bring myself down to it is it's the same game I've done 1,000 times. Just go out and do what you do and do it the best you can do it.
Yeah.
Sure. That's a great message, which I feel like that's the same kind of message that the coaches give to the players on some of these big stage games, quarterfinal, semifinal, final. We're like, hey, you've done this a million times. This is what we do in practice. Just go out there and do it, right? So,
well, go back to the movie Hoosiers.
Oh, I was just thinking that.
What did he do when he took him into the basketball court?
And he drops the tape.
Exactly.
The greatest sports movie of all time.
Same as your
yes.
Your court down in Hickory.
Same page. Yep. Same page with you right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite sports movie moments.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Mike, do you have a favorite matchup, a favorite match that you've ever officiated?
It's a tough question.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of them. Probably the best game I've done is the one I mentioned earlier, the third place game in Paris.
Okay.
That was the highest game that any American could do there because we were in the finals. So to get chosen for that was a big honor, and it was a good game. One of the games that always kind of sticks in my head was I think it was a final game at Nationals, and it would have been with Synergy out of Atlanta. And
Wow.
Pika and somebody else were coming less than 6 meters apart down the court with the ball, and just probably 10 feet out from the goal area, I called them for the 2-on-1, and right call, but crowd went wild, so to speak.
Yeah, I bet.
A hard call to make.
Yeah. But it was there.
Yep.
Do you change? I mean, I know what your answer is going to be here, but like, does it change like how you ref at the beginning of a game when it's tied versus how you ref at the end if it's 8-0 or
Pressure's on,
1-1? Like the pressure's on, and pressure's on the players, the pressure's on you. Like, is there like a moment's hesitation to make a call in a really like a high stakes moment like that, or do you just is like any other call?
In a tight game, I think I try to call the same game. If it was a foul in the first minute, it's a foul in the last minute, or anywhere in between. Now you asked. I think you were starting to ask another question too. If it's 8-0,
Right.
Do I adjust how I call? I'd be a liar if I said no.
Right.
That team that's at 0 might not get as many 2-on-1s called as the 8 or whatever, because we're trying to let them play a little bit. And generally the lopsided ones that far are newer teams.
Right.
Right.
Well, I think like what Bill was also trying to say, like say like it's the NHL playoffs kind of thing, and it's like Game 7. You're not gonna call anything unless it's super egregious call that really affects the game and gotta go on power play. Is that something that you kind of have in mind when it's like that, or no?
No, I don't. If it's a foul, it's a foul.
Yeah.
I don't care what game it is. I don't care what point of the game it is.
Yeah.
It's like the guy in the outdoor game that called a red card offense 5 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
How can you do that? It was what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, what are some topics covered in referee training and in pre-national meetings? Is there any kind of disability awareness type training, or is it just straight game related? And this question came from Andrea Fritsch.
It is game related.
Okay.
It's not that we don't want to talk about disabilities. It's that we don't know about them.
Sure.
I'd be honest in saying we don't know what they are. You tell me you've got such and such and such and such. Okay, I can see what it may be, but I don't know how that affects things and so on and so forth. The biggest problem there is there's just not enough time to teach it. We basically have 4 to 5, maybe 6 hours to teach a class and keep them there. And, that's filled up. We don't get as much done as we want. In the go back to the outdoor game, when we when I first started, that class was 2 6 or 7 hour days.
Wow.
And then as I became involved later on, we also had another evening where we took the kids and taught them how to use the flags and how to handle a coach and things like that. So that was another 3 hours.
Okay.
So they had 14, 18 hours, and we're doing that in 5, maybe 6. So yeah, we're not covering as much as we want to cover, anywhere near as well as we want to cover it.
Right.
But again, we go back to what we said earlier, the beauty when we bring in refs from the outdoor game, a lot of that they've already got. So it's just teaching them, about this game.
Okay. Well, we got 2 more questions. Both of them from Katie Kenzie. Katie, the coach of Minnesota United. Thanks for responding to my text, Katie. The first one, I like both of these. The first one is, Mike, can you explain the concept of advantage and when you let play continue versus when you blow it dead?
All right. The idea of advantage is that a foul has occurred and the player that's been fouled has an opportunity to continue on. If he's lost his advantage with that play or lost the ball, whatever, we have 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds to bring that back. Okay. So, I'll use Archer as a prime case, in addition, I'm going to back up for a quick second. In addition to advantage, referees use what's called a wait and see, which is it's advantage, but just a little different term for it. So we'll wait a second and see whether that player is able to go on and continue with their play. If not, bring it back so that they don't lose what they potentially lost in that foul.
So you tend to blow it dead as soon as that offensive player starts going backwards. As soon as the ball is being pushed towards them.
Not necessarily. I mean, it just every play is different. I can't say that that's
right.
For sure.
They have to maintain possession, right?
Right.
They have to maintain the advantage they had when they had that ball, or play whatever.
Okay.
That is not fouls happen without the ball too. So.
It's good to know.
Okay. And then, and I appreciate that perspective because it does seem like a very subjective rule. The other question. Sorry, go ahead.
But I say it is, but that's always been the beauty of soccer is that everything is not black and white. There's gray area that allows the referee to make decisions.
Yeah.
Which is different, I think, from other sports. I think a lot of us, I shouldn't speak for others, but as an American sports fan that got into soccer later, I think that's sometimes a hard thing. The concept of stoppage time was unbelievable to me when I started coaching and even watching soccer a few years before that. And I have friends and relatives. I'll talk about my dad for one second. My dad could not handle the running clock with the stoppage time because it is so subjective, and he brings it up to me sometimes when we talk about it.
Yeah, it's not like basketball, hockey, baseball. I mean, it takes a while to get. My dad is the same exact way. It's so bizarre that it just keeps running, and it's up to the referees to decide when the game stops.
Right. And I've had moments where I'm up a goal and I'm just freaking out, blow it dead.
No.
Blow it dead. I don't know. My reputation. But it is. I mean, it's one of those things, an advantage plays like that, right? As a coach, I can get pretty, bothered by that if I let myself. Katie's other question, which is kind of along the same lines, is like, what are the varying philosophies on different officials allowing different amounts of contact?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. I don't have the greatest answer.
Okay.
I think we're trying to get a little bit more of a handle on that. If you watch the last World Cup, well, if you watch any European game,
Yes.
that's a foul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I noticed.
I don't like that.
It's too tight. Let them play.
Yeah. I don't think we call enough. Okay. So again, it's one of those. Let's find that balance. Okay. And I think we're pretty good at it. What I'm trying to get our referees here to do is call a little bit more of the fouls into the body of the chair. You know, from the caster wheel forward. I don't want to say it's free reign, but you know, more can happen up there than from the caster back, because from the caster back, we're protecting that player.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if I can get some more calls on that, with and without the ball. Yeah. You know, because a lot of referees think that just because the ball's there, it's not a foul. Well, that impact is still hard.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we're shaking a player around, that's not what we want.
Right.
You know, unless it's like Michael Archer or Bill or something. Yeah.
Right.
No.
On the sideline? You're going to get it on the sideline?
Yeah, but it's not, he ain't playing. Oh, no, he should be playing.
I get hit on the sideline. What are you talking about?
I think we might have hit each other on the sidelines.
No, certain players are stronger and have the ability to absorb a little bit more.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we have to be cognizant of that too.
Yeah.
All right, boys, I have to run.
Yeah, we got to wrap this
absolutely.
up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We can't thank you enough for taking the time, Mike. This was awesome.
Thank you so much
for coming on. Thank
Yeah,
you so
we
much.
appreciate your perspective. 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
Happy to do it.
Yeah.
And
All
with
right.
that, that is our interview with Mike McCoy. Thank you guys so much for joining us for 3 in the Box podcast, powered by Power Soccer Shop. Thanks again.
Like anybody knows me.